where I see things, kind of my evaluation of the team at this point in time, you know, we were tested, and you know, that's the one thing from week 1 and week 2. You know, we can evaluate where we're at as a football team. We have things to work on this week that we need to work on. We know what our strengths are. We know what our weaknesses are. So because of that, that's a good thing right now. We know what we got to do here to take the next step. The concerns I have with the game, and the things too that I think we can learn from, I think we got overwhelmed with the nature of the game, and that's something that we have to learn from. This was a big game setting. There was a lot of emotions at the beginning of the game. The mistakes that we made early on, they were very correctable, but it was basically mental mistakes or just not being quite in tune with what was happening, and therefore we gave up big plays. So that's something, when we do get in the big games, we got to make sure that the focus is where it needs to be at, and you know, try to eliminate as many of the distractions as we possibly can. So that in itself was an experience that hopefully we'll use for the better. We made too many mistakes against a good team. You look at offensively, 4 turnovers. You can't give up the field position that we gave up. On the game, our average starting spot was at our own 23. Their average starting spot was at the 43. So you're in any game, regardless of the level, you're going to put yourself at risk with those type of numbers. Defensively, the thing that we got to do better, we missed tackles. That first big run of the game for them that they scored the touchdown, we probably had 6, 7 missed tackles on that play alone. And again, a lot of it's just technique, a lot of it's just you know, being aware of the situation, and it's being able to adapt to speed. And that was something that we didn't do. Special teams, we have to be more assignment sharp with their special teams. That punt return, it was probably the simplest thing that we teach that didn't get done, is we just didn't have contain on the punt return. And all it is just a person being in the right position, because we had 6 guys going down the field. There was nobody blocking us on the return. It was just we were out of position. And again, that goes back to the emotions of the game, knowing your responsibilities and doing it. So those are things that we'll work on. Those are things that are very correctable. It's not a mismatch or a physical deficiency that we had. It was just basically not playing the complete game. The positive, though, which I think you can definitely build upon, you know, this group really never did give up. You know, they had a lot of reason to. They had a lot of adversity, you know, but even in the darkest, you know, 6 minutes in the game, and you're trying to figure out, you know, what's 21 times 4, and you know, you're not quite sure, you know, if you can get the ship straight. The guys stayed positive, and it's that next play mentality that I think we hung on to. That you know, we just say, line up next play, let's make something happen. So that showed us a lot about the team. And the thing too, I think we've identified areas that are areas we need to improve, and I think they're definitely correctable. And we also know that we need to get better. That's one of those things too, where you're not thinking, well, what do we need to get better at? We know exactly what we got to get better at, and we got a week to do it and work on some drills, and I think the timing of the off week is pretty good to us. So our week coming up, just to give you a feel there, we're going to do the morning practices. We did that last year. Really liked it. The players liked it. So 6 a.m. we're on the field, and we'll be done by 7:30. It's going to be short and sweet. Nobody's going to be missing any classes. Get the guys up early, work on the things that we need to work on. Also bring some guys back as far as the health is concerned. So we'll do a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday right now will be a workout day for us, lifting and conditioning. Saturday will be off, and then next Sunday we'll start preparing for Missouri State. So with all that being said, are there any questions?
Yeah, after the game last weekend, you mentioned that one of the reasons you didn't try an onside kick because about asking Kyle Doherty, who's down at high school, to teach that to our kicker or whatever?
If it was-
Because he's doing a heck of a job with their kicker.
Yeah, but
They've
he's
got
doing a
lot
good,
of-
Kyle's a good job. That's one of those things, either you got it or you don't. And we can do it, but it was at the time, and it worked out for us. That onside, now you think at that time, there was 6:39 left in the game. All right, the last thing we wanted to do is give up field position where all of a sudden now you take yourself out of the game. We felt that for us to give us the best choice, and we weren't real comfortable with our onside, but we were playing some pretty good defense at that time. We did kick the ball deep. We played defense. We got the ball back with 4:39 left in the game, and, you know, we're down 2 scores. So, you know, that was a decision that, you know, at the time, you know, you think both ways, but with 6:39, if we're playing good defense, and then we wanted to have better field position. That's where they did a good job with their field goal kicker, you know, and we ended up being backed up again coming out. But you know, Kyle's good, and he comes over here all the time. He lives with Paul McIntosh, so Kyle's with us all the time. So, but it's one of those. And the technique that you use to do it, I mean, it's like a lot of things. Some things it comes natural to some people, and other people it doesn't.
Coach, obviously you're not going to be facing that caliber of a team on a weekly basis, but at this point, where do you feel like the team measures up as a whole against FCS teams?
Well, again, I'm going to speculate on that. I don't know how good Ole Miss is. I like you know, the opportunity to get there and play an FBS team. You know, I think we got a chance to be a very good football team in the Missouri Valley, and I think the Missouri Valley is very tough. I look around and see some of the scores. Again, it's tough to draw any comparison because all you're doing is comparing scores, but you know, Youngstown State right now has my attention. I think they are a team that's definitely on the rise. They have the talents. They did some nice things against Michigan State. They completely demolished Valparaiso. You know, so those are things that are pretty impressive.
What do you really think about your strengths and weaknesses right now? What do you think are your strengths and weaknesses?
Well, you know, I think right now we got to pay attention to the details, do the little things right. You know, our weaknesses aren't glaring, but it is attention to detail. It's execution offensively, execution defensively, being in the right spots, you know, being able to run the defense and the offense specifically the way that you've coached it. You know, special teams, making sure that people are always in position on special teams. So right now what we need to do a better job is pay attention to detail.
You had 2 sacks. You know, how good do you think your pass rush can be?
Well, I think we have a pretty athletic defensive front, so again, with the pressure that we bring, we better have sacks.
Coach, what was the message to the team yesterday when you met with them, when you guys were looking at film and stuff?
The message was pretty simple. You know, we came out of that game where we can feel good about things, but at the same time, we have to realize that it was our mistakes that are very correctable that cost us an opportunity to do better. Now, I'm not saying it cost us to win or that we were supposed to win if we do this and this better, but we could have played a much better football game against Ole Miss, and we didn't do that. And that's something that you have to realize and understand and not be happy with. You know, there's a satisfaction that we went in and we competed. You know, we held our ground when we were, you know, against some adverse situations, but we could have easily done a lot better, and that's what we got to do.
I know you mentioned that you'll know more about Kayan's ankle situation, you know, tomorrow or Wednesday. You know, has Lee told you? I mean, is it a high ankle sprain or a lower one, or any idea at this point?
Then again, ankle sprains, they take time to develop. It's you know, you never know. You hear on Sunday, you hear Monday. You really don't know the severity of it until Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because that's when the recovery period should be setting in, and sometimes it's not. So, you know, that's one of those wait and see. You know, Can was moving around on it. He's, you know, he's optimistic, and, you know, usually that's a good sign in itself, but, you know, you just got to kind of let time answer that question.
Do you think it's as bad as Macro was last year? Hard to say.
There's no way to tell. I didn't, there's no, Macro he had to have surgery. So I would hope it's not that bad.
Are most of our passing plays done in the pocket? We don't have any where Paul goes and sprints to the right or the left or whatever?
We got him moving all over. We had sprint all packages, we had play action, we had boot.
The pass block, and I realize the guy's 6'6".
Yeah.
Is there some way our linemen, like chop block? I don't know if that's.
The advantage there too, that wasn't Paul's fault. That one was, we did not have the right timing of our offensive tackle throwing the block. So a lot of times, yeah, the quarterback is thrown under the bus here and everyone's saying it's his fault. But in reality, he's doing exactly what he's been taught to do. Now, that guy did a pretty good job. We threw the block too soon. He was able to come off of the cut block and then react up. And when Paul threw the ball, the amazing thing there is that guy wasn't in the area, and it was just his reaction time that got him there. And then being a big guy with long arms, he made the play.
So it was the timing of the cut block?
Yeah, it was up front.
Coach, turnovers were a big part of your season. You know, last year, did you feel better about no fumbles against Mississippi, and you did not lose a fumble against SIU? Do you feel better about that this year?
It's 4 turnovers, though. I mean, it's one of those that doesn't. Turnovers are turnovers, whether they come through the air or you know, our running backs did a good job hanging on the ball, but that's an expectation. So, you know, we need to do a little bit better with some of our throws.
Feel good about your ability to get the ball to your key playmakers on offense?
I think we have done a good job getting the ball to our key players on the offense. So again, you look at we had 8 explosive plays on the course of the night. Now that's good against any team, and you know, especially when you're looking at a SEC defense that really held the BYU offense in check the week before. You know, that I think speaks that we do have some big playmakers on offense.
You had said Bomer had been shaken up. You know, is he going to be limited this week too? Practice?
Well, no, Brian. He needs to heal up. He's just bruised. I mean, when you're playing center, you get hit all over. So, you know, that's the big thing that he needs is just let himself heal up.
Anything else?
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Looks like we've got a couple players here.